Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Monday, May 16th, 2011, the regular meeting for the Parks, Recreation, and Community Services Commission. Could we have the roll call, please?
Commissioner Scarpetian?
Here.
Patrick?
Here.
Rotfogel?
Here.
Sharkey? Here. President Khan?
Here.
The agenda for the May 16, 2011 meeting was posted on the bulletin board outside City Hall on Wednesday, May 11, 2011. Item 2, introductions and presentations. 2A, introduction of new Commissioner Vartan Garpetian.
Yes, President Khan, it gives me pleasure to welcome and to introduce our newest commissioner, Commissioner Vartan Garpetian, who was nominated by Councilmember Rafi Manukian. So today is his inaugural meeting. Mr. Garpetian joins the board or this commission with previous experience as a design review board commissioner, where he served for 4 years. And amongst his other civic endeavors, he is presently a member of the Green Building Task Force Committee. He is a member of the Foundation Board for Glendale Adventist Medical Center, and he is also the vice president of the D&M Educational Foundation. So a very civic-minded gentleman, and we're happy to have him on board. Mr. Garpetian.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much, Mr. Duran, Mr. Khan, President Khan. Thank you very much. I would like to take this opportunity and thank the City Council for appointing me to this position, because I believe this department is one of the most important departments that we have in the city. It has a direct impact in quality of life of the residents, and I really appreciate this opportunity. I'm also fortunate enough to be sitting with a dynamic group of people, experienced commissioners. I've known Mr. Khan and Mr. Rotfogel for a number of years now, and I also watched the commission and the way they acted, the way they presented themselves. They've done a great job. This commission has done very well for the city, and my goal is to follow their footsteps and do the same. And with that, I want to thank Mr. Duran and Ms. Hidalgo as well for meeting with me last Friday and giving me the crash course, if you will, of the Parks and this department. So I thank you for that as well. Thank you very much.
Great. Welcome.
Thank you.
Mr. President, if I may, I would be remiss, or we would be remiss, if we did not congratulate Commissioner Dadi Sharkey for being renominated to the commission by Councilman Weaver. So, welcome.
Thank you.
Now, would you like to say something as well?
No.
Good for you. Great. Well, congratulations as well.
Thank you.
Item 2B, recognition of outgoing Commissioner Richard Bennett.
He may be running a little late, so maybe we'll come back to that then.
Okay.
That'd be good.
Item 2C, presentation by Committee for Armenian Students in Public Schools, CASPS.
Good afternoon, everyone. Congratulations, Mr. Garpetian, on your new appointment, and thank you all for inviting us. I am Laura Etoyen. I'm a 15-year-long board member and volunteer of CASPS. I am waiting also for my executive director. I believe she just walked in. No, she did not. I think she's stuck on the 405. What we'd like to do is talk to you about the programs that we have and what we do for our children. Is it possible for me to sort of go through the website with you?
Yes, you have a mouse.
Do I have a mouse here? Okay, excellent. Okay, this is, could we do Control Plus so that it gets bigger so everyone can read?
Sorry?
Can you do Control Plus to make it a little larger so it's legible? Yes, this is it. Huh? Okay. Our mission is to support students in public schools in general. We came together as a group in 1994 in response to strife between students of different ethnic groups. We initially started doing mediation work with parents, students, administrators, and teachers. And then eventually we became a referral service for access to all kinds of community services. Right now, we do have several programs. I am going to walk you through the programs we have. It is on our brochure. Why doesn't, okay, programs and services, here we are. Let me just, I already talked about access and referrals, advocacy and interpretation, because we did have a lot of immigrant students whose parents really didn't know what the system was all about, so we were walking them through the system and referring them to the appropriate agencies at that time. This is 17 years ago, 1994. Then we started the Effective Parenting Project. We did it in 3 languages. We're still doing it in 3 languages, Armenian, English, and Spanish. We do have several modules that we have developed specifically for children of displaced people. And it's sort of generic, but we do it in their own language. That's why everybody gets the same information. Mediation and conflict resolution, we still do. We need it less and less, thank God. Everybody is sort of on the program already. We did workshops on intergroup relations, both in Glendale and at the LAUSD Local District 2. We're still doing those. And again, thankfully, we don't need to do them as frequently as we used to. We have intervened every time there has been strife at Grant High School in North Hollywood. So I can say that we are effective. We do have annual recognition awards events, both for local district, LAUSD Local District 2 and GUSD. Our GUSD event this year is on May 26th at Brandview. We will be honoring about 200 seniors graduating with 3.5 or better. And we will do the same in North Hollywood. The annual art contest also brings out a lot of talent. We don't just work on the best and brightest. We offer clinical group counseling for K through 6 students. This is done at the elementary level. It is a pull-out program. It is done during school hours. And we have a professional psychologist and interns who work with the children. It's a program that's very much in demand, but unfortunately we don't have the funds to take it to every school. For the past 5 years, CDBG has been funding us partially to do the program in two schools for the whole year. The cost is about $45,000 minimum. We have never yet received more than $28,000 from the CDBG, so we leverage the rest of it. We get a lot of donations in kind, and we do what we can to cover all the costs. We also subcontract with the Healthy Start program at GUSD, and that is a service of case management for K through 12 students. Any child who's failing, not able to follow the school schedule, anything that they need, whether it's family support, student support, academic support, we provide the case management service K through 12. This is GUSC. Now, I want all of you to know that our services are available for every student in every ethnic group. We don't serve only Armenians. It just happens to be our name, just like Jewish Family Service, just like Catholic Charities. We serve every child. The only thing we do exclusively for Armenians is the scholarship event we have for students who are graduating for 3.5 or better. That's the only thing that's done for Armenians. Everything else, everybody can get the benefit of it. So this is basically what we do year-round. In this section, did you know we have a page with the alumni we've served? We have alumni who are now MDs, who are who are brain surgeons, filmmakers, incredible people, really incredible people. I think this is one of them, if I'm not wrong. No, this is Nare. I cannot read that far. This is Evelyn Bagdasarian. She is a pediatrician now at Kaiser, and the reason why we have her here is that she is in the group of young people we honored. The first year we did this. The program for honoring good students began in 1997. She is now a pediatrician, and she's absolutely marvelous. The one thing we do with the children, with the students rather, we honor, we ask them to come back and serve the community when they're done with their schooling and education and all that. So we're hoping to have a new generation of volunteers working with us to do everything for everyone. We also have this section on Did You Know, where we post interesting articles. We have Friends of CASP, and we have just information having to do with Gardner's multiple intelligence theory. I don't know if you're familiar with this gentleman. He's a psychologist and has done research on different types of intelligence. Oh boy. No, sorry about that. I can't see, that's my problem. Anyway, according to Gardner, there are 7 different types of intelligence. And so each month we post an interesting piece of information that everyone can benefit from. In terms of our budget, just so you know, our budget is between $90,000 and $110,000 a year based on what we can get from the Healthy Start program, from the CDBG, from our fundraising efforts. Every year we do a fundraising event. We just did a Salsa night and Mother's Day night where we had GUSD Latin professionals teach and entertain in salsa and Mexican folk dance. We had a beautiful performance. It was really a lovely event. In general, we managed to raise about $6,000 to $7,000 a year, and the rest we get in in-kind donations. Staffing-wise, we have an executive director, part-time. Oh, there she is. Come on up. I'm sorry you were stuck in traffic.
Sorry, I was coming from West LA.
Yeah.
That's okay.
You want to add anything?
Did we talk about our intervention prevention?
I did say, yes, I talked about the intervention prevention and the CDBG funding of it, the partial funding of it by CDBG.
So we're...
Could you introduce yourself for us?
Yes, my name is Arsina Hovanesian, CASP's Executive Director, and thank you for this opportunity to speak to you about our organization. And I'm sure Laura has already said everything, and I just wanted to reiterate that despite our name, we offer our services to all students, and predominantly Glendale. Most of our activities are in Glendale, but we also work with LA Unified Local District 2 students and wherever we're needed, wherever our services are needed. So we try to be advocates for local public school students and their families. We've had a really good relationship with Glendale Unified for 17 years. I'm sure she already told you, through the Healthy Start program. And we just started a tutoring program as well. And hopefully we'll continue our services in the community.
Great. Did you guys have questions, comments?
Oh, one question, if I may.
Go ahead.
How many students do you have in your program on yearly basis?
Through the Healthy Start program, since the Healthy Start case managers are CASP's case managers, they're CASP's employees, and they serve students from K through 12, I would say it's in the hundreds, close to maybe even, it depends. There are some services that are limited, that are just one-time services, and other services that are long-term services, case-managed services. But I would say in the high hundreds, close to 1,000 kids.
Close to 1,000. Okay, thank you.
More or less. But also, I mean, including our counseling students, the ones who go through the counseling program, and other services.
Okay, thank you.
Any others?
If someone wanted to get in touch with you, either to donate or to anything else, and the address or a phone number?
Everything. We even have PayPal.
She was ready for it.
Yes, she was.
We don't say donate, we say so
You can reach us by email, or our phone number is on the website, 249-5044, or www.casps.org.
Perfect.
Mail is
CASPS.org.
CASPS.org.
Well, thank you very much for coming today.
Thank you. Nice meeting you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Have a good day. I saw Mr. Bennett sneak in, so if we want to go back to that.
Can we vote on that?
Make him stay the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take him at the end.
We'll go back to item 2B, recognition of outgoing Commissioner Richard Bennett.
Great.
Yes, President Khan, we do want to take this opportunity to thank and recognize Commissioner Bennett for his 3 years of service on the commission. And so we do have a plaque that we would like to present Commissioner Bennett, if I may.
Sure.
I will very quickly read what's inscribed on the plaque. It says, Commissioner Service Award presented to Richard Bennett in recognition of his commitment and devotion to the community and the welfare of citizens of Glendale and his continued support for the programs and development of the department during his service as a Park, Recreation, and Community Services Commissioner, 11/25/08 through 5/10/11. Commissioner Bennett, thank you.
Thank you. It was somewhat short, but it was a terrific experience. Working with the commissioners was just a lot of fun. And working with staff, I enjoyed it. I see Dave's not here, but Dave was one of the guys that was real cool. Don, it was just a great experience, and I'll probably see you guys around sometime. Okay. Actually, there's maybe two quick questions. Well, one, not having been terminated from the city before, sure, I don't think I get any severance pay.
No.
But I really was interested in Dave's not here. Can I keep the sword?
Yes.
Yes, you can.
And wear it well. Richard, I can't thank you enough for all you did. I can't believe it was 3 years and it's gone. But thank you for all those subcommittees and all those other things you did for us and reported back. I really, really appreciate it because it took a lot of extra time. So we'll miss you.
Okay, thanks. And it was my pleasure to do that stuff.
And Richard, I just want to thank you also. Your perspective on things have been very valuable. I've learned a lot from that, and I've thoroughly enjoyed discussing all our technology, things like our iPads and
I think we got it mostly solved, too.
the problems we solved together. So thank you so much for your service, and we'll see you soon.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Truly enjoyed having you as the person to my left to try and keep me in line. I hope that these two are up to it. I'm sure they are. But I've enjoyed sitting next to you and serving with you and seeing you around the community, and you're always welcome at any of our events. I'm sure you'll be at the pool opening in June, and I'm assuming it's in June.
June 4th.
And we hope to see you there.
Thanks, Steve.
I just liked you. I don't give you any reason. I thought you were a good person. Good commissioner. Obviously, we chatted about a number of different things. So I'll miss you not being over there, the wingman on the left. But I'm sure, like you said, we'll see you around. And really appreciated getting to know you. Thank you. Yep.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye-bye. What's next?
Item 3, commission staff comments.
I have some staff comments.
Okay, great.
As you know, we had our first annual Verdugo Mountains 10K trail and hike. It was presented by the Community Services and Parks Department to benefit our foundation. Oh, we're going to have some slides up here. This is great. Okay. It was, as I mentioned, it was to benefit the Glendale Parks and Open Space Foundation. It was 6.2 miles. 3.2 of the miles were straight up the mountain at an elevation of 1,735 feet. There's our city clerk, Artie, who did the whole course bravely. We had, in the beginning, our board said, when it was presented to us, we thought, gee, do we think we could get 50 runners? And then we thought, well, 200 would be okay, well, we had total registered 587 runners. Wow. We had 503 on the course. Our oldest runner who completed, that's Liliana Hernandez, and that's where's Enrique Esparza. Enrique, we call him Henry, is a Glendale employee. City of Glendale employee. Our oldest finisher was 83, and our youngest, you'll probably see a picture of him in a minute, was 6 years old, and he did the whole 6.2 miles. We had runners from Las Vegas, Houston, Austin, Chicago, and Virginia, so they came from all over. We had lots of complimentary emails. One person who finished the course said that it was an instant classic, and I thought that was a great way to put it. Anything, and on the board with me is Commissioner Patrick, so do you have anything to add as far as what we're showing up here?
It was just an absolutely wonderful day. I think this is our 6-year-old.
Oh, that's our Nathaniel.
6-year-old. And we had just everybody that participated had a great day. The weather was perfect. Commissioner Sharkey did the awards presentation, so she got to give people their medals. Watching the start was fabulous, watching those 500-plus people take off up the hill. I didn't get to see the finish, but the start was certainly exciting. It was just really a wonderful day, and I think that the consensus is that they would like to see this every year. So it was really a fabulous day.
And I must tell you that the staff and volunteers went the extra miles. They deserved the medals too. Even staff members took vacation time and extra hours and put so much into it. And I can't thank the staff enough and the volunteers enough. And it was just a proud day in Glendale. It was just, Brand Park is a beautiful place, and I do hope we can do it again next year. Uh-oh, more slides going up. It got so, there was so much enthusiasm that when I was starting to get hugged a lot, and actually runners coming up to me and saying they wanted to come back next year and they couldn't wait, and so it was a very successful event. So.
Great.
Thank you.
And I just
show and tell.
Wanted to do some show and tell. Here is the T-shirt that the runners received, with our logo on it, and you can see what a great logo it was. And we had people that ran, people that walked, people that skipped, I guess, up and down. And then these were the medals. And people that completed in tops in their class.
That is nice.
It's a really great medal. So we had a wonderful day, and I would just recommend that you watch for this next year. And it's not that far up there.
And I should mention our 15 firefighters who trained hard for it, and we did have 2 police officers too. I remember Carl Pobilitis, and I'm sorry her name skips me, but it was nice to have our fire department and our police department there too. So,
great. I have a couple items. If staff, I'll go to next. First item is from the Parks and Recreation magazine that we get, and it related to fiscal blues. And I think our department can relate with that, considering the budget and the cutbacks and whatnot. And one of the items there were a few different items that came up that at least maybe we don't talk about now, but at least we look into as possible opportunities for generating revenue. One, and they have different categories. One was called revenue drivers, and it had to do with a couple opportunities. One is the possibility of naming rights and looking at our different park facilities and not just the park itself, but even within the park, and looking at opportunities to raise revenue as it relates to naming rights. And some of these cities, big and small, have been using this and generating a tremendous amount of money, not just a few hundred or a few $1,000s, a significant amount of money. And I think, especially during these times and parks getting cut back, we need to look at stuff like this. Now, we may come back and say it's not a great idea, but it's certainly something that we should explore. And that was one of the ideas. There was actually about 2 or 3 different ideas other than just the parks naming items that we could also further look at. They also talked about parks foundations, which was part of the article, and it says parks foundations prove their worth. So it's very timely, this run, and also having established the parks foundations, that during this crisis or during this time, even as we're getting out of it, this is the new normal. We're not going back to the way it used to be before, and we need to look at it and say, okay, as a commission, if this is an opportunity for us to help or assist with the city in generating revenue, at least let's have that dialogue. So I'd like to be able to do that. Maybe at a future agenda, Mr. Duran, we can agendize that. Maybe you guys do a little research, tell us the pros and cons of some of this stuff, and then we can kind of discuss that amongst ourselves. It's something that I think would be worthwhile looking into.
I read that article.
Did you?
It had some great ideas and certainly some things we could put on the agenda.
Yeah. And if you don't have this, Mr. Duran, I could certainly loan you my copy.
It did have some great ideas.
That was one. The second thing, and I'll acknowledge Mr. Ahern, who just walked in. How are you? The second thing is further on the agenda is election of officers. And I think it was mentioned, or I mentioned last time, it's great if we always rotate. So what I didn't know if it was the appropriate time now, and I guess I do it now, to thank you guys. To thank you for this year that I have been the president, or chairman, or whatever the term is we use here. I guess we use the president term. I appreciate your support from the commissioners, also from the city staff and from the city council. There was a couple things I went through and I kind of recapped because I was trying to think, okay, well, what happened this last year? One was, because it was a very interesting time, at least for me, one was we consolidated the departments, which was a little bit different in terms of having housing, CDBG, homeless programs, things like that, which was kind of cool. Also, as it relates to having people come and make presentations at the beginning of the nonprofits, because so long or so many times they go unnoticed, and we were trying to get them out there. And I thought, I don't know whose idea that was. It was not my idea, but it was a good idea. So I at least wanted to say that. Jess came in, and George left us, which was a whole transitional thing. And we're excited now that Jess is permanent and our director. And then lastly, if not lastly, quite a number of parks projects. And we were one of the departments that just had a number of projects, which was really cool. We did a lot of groundbreakings. We did Griffith Manor Park, Maple Park, Duke-Majan Barn Restoration, Pacific Park Pool, the Riverwalk Project, reopened Duke-Majan Park, and then also, of course, the Adult Recreation Center. So a lot happened, and it's exciting, and a lot will continue to happen. And I think that's kind of cool, especially in this economy and what's going on. Anyway, I just wanted to make sure I got that out and said thank you to you guys before we get to the elections. It's been a lot of fun. Does staff have any comments?
President Khan, to follow up on your suggestion for revenue-generating ideas and potentially exploring the idea of naming rights, we do plan maybe by the next commission meeting to provide a budget wrap-up, at which time we will probably also talk about revenue-generating ideas or potential for increased fee schedules for certain programs. So we will. And then there's probably also going to be a larger, a citywide discussion on the idea of naming rights or corporate sponsorships for a lot of the city's programs as a means to deal with our budget situation. So we will definitely be coming back with a report on the budget and some ideas for revenue generating.
Great. Thank you. Okay. What's next?
Item 4, oral communications. I don't have any cards.
I don't either.
Item 5, consent items. 5A, approval of the minutes of the Commission regular meeting held on April 18, 2011.
I'll move to approve the meeting minutes.
Second.
Commissioner Scarpetian,
Since I wasn't here, I'm going to abstain.
Patrick,
Yes.
Rob Fogel,
I also will abstain.
Sharkey,
Yes.
President Khan.
Yes.
Item 6, business agenda. 6A, action items. 6A1, election of officers. At A, president, and at B, secretary.
Okay.
Passing it on to me.
I'm passing it back to you.
Okay. The business before the Parks, Recreation, and Community Services Commission is the selection of a new president. I will now entertain nominations for that office. Yes, Commissioner Patrick.
I would like to nominate Commissioner Steve Ropvogel for president.
I'll second it.
Do we have any additional nominations? We have one nomination for Commissioner Ropvogel. Hearing no further nominations, we will proceed to the roll call. Commissioner Scarpetian,
Yes.
Patrick,
Yes.
Ropvogel,
Yes.
Sharkey,
Yes.
and Khan.
Yes.
I now declare Commissioner Ropvogel the duly elected president of the Glendale Parks, Recreation, and Community Services Commission. Mr. President, the task before you now is to open the floor for nominations for secretary.
Don't forget to switch your name, please.
I'm sure you don't want to be.
That's correct.
I understand. Okay, I'd like to open the nominations for secretary.
I would like to nominate Laurel Patrick for
I'll second
secretary.
that.
Are there any other nominations? Hearing none, I will declare them closed.
I'll take roll call. Commissioner Scarpetian,
Yes.
Khan,
Yes.
Patrick,
Yes.
Sharkey,
Yes.
President Ropvogel.
Yes.
I now declare Commissioner Patrick the duly elected secretary of the Glendale Parks, Recreation, and Community Services Commission.
Okay. Before we move on, I just want to thank my fellow commissioners for your trust and the honor that you've given me, and I hope to partially fill your shoes. You've left. You've been very active and very proactive in some of the things that you've brought to the commission and to the department, and I hope you'll continue that,
Sure.
and I hope to also continue that.
Great. Thanks.
All right. What is next?
Item 6A2, motion to approve a proposed one-day activity card fee.
President Rob Fogel and Commissioners, I'd like to introduce Onig Bolanikian. He will present this report.
Good afternoon, President Rofogel, members of the Commission. My name is Onig Bolanikian. I'm the supervisor of our Pacific Community Center. I've been working at Pacific for almost 7 years, and one of our programs that we have is the drop-in program. Activity card holders buy a activity card for $25, ages 18 through 59. There's also a senior activity card for $10 and a child's activity card at no charge. What we're requesting from Commission is to approve a $2 one-day activity card fee for participants that would like to try out our facilities for one day or we get a lot of out-of-towners that would like to use our facility to work out, especially during our senior classes or during our adult drop-in basketball. Exhibit 1 shows the different facilities that accept activity cards. Pacific Community Center, you can use our gymnasium, recreation room, participate in special events, our computer lab. Our adult recreation center has our billiards room, exercise room, television room, and also special events for seniors. Our Spar Heights Community Center has the billiards room and special events, and our new Maple Park Community Center, which fees were approved April 18, has the gymnasium room, recreation room, and computer lab. So at this point, we request the $2 activity card fee approved for all of our community centers starting June 1st.
Are there any questions?
Might I add, annual revenue is projected at $2,500 with this new fee.
No, that was just what I was
Citywide.
going to ask, so it would be about $2,500.
Citywide, yes.
I move we approve the activity fee as outlined.
Is there a second?
I'll second it. Rodney?
Okay. Before we do that, I just have a couple of quick questions.
Sure.
If somebody tries it, if they're a resident and they try it out and they like it and they want to buy a card, do they get the $2 credited to the annual card?
No, it'll be a $25.
Okay.
For 1 year data purchase.
Okay.
No, it's not calendar year, it's data purchase for 1 year, 12-month period.
And I think that's it. Okay. Let's go to a roll call.
Commissioner Scarpetian?
Yes.
Khan?
Yes?
Patrick?
Yes.
Starkey?
Yes.
President Rottfogel?
Yes.
Thank you.
And what is next, please?
Item 6B, reports for information only at 1 Adult Recreation Center and Senior Programs Annual Report.
And President Rottfogel and Commissioners, I'd like to introduce Julianne Leviant. She will be presenting our Senior Recreation Program. The Senior Recreation Program is citywide. We have a variety of activities at Pacific Community Center. We have them at the Adult Recreation Center, Spar Heights Community Center, and with the Maple Park Community Center opening up soon, we're ready to go with some activities there. So this is citywide, and Julianne, although she is the supervisor for the Adult Recreation Center and handles all the activity there, she takes care of senior special events and senior activities, and she coordinates everything citywide.
Hi, President Rottfogel, Commissioners, and staff. I am Julianne Leviant. I'm the Community Services Supervisor for the Adult Recreation Center. The new Adult Recreation Center had its grand opening on Saturday, August 7th, 2010. The building has a dining hall, multi-purpose room, activity room, TV lounge, that also doubles as a library where we have books donated from the library that they're no longer being used, upper courtyard, lower courtyard, and the Tai Chi garden. Our 90-plus celebration is one of our biggest and most anticipated celebrations. This year's celebration will be held on May 26th from 10 to 1. We will be honoring 31 seniors over the age of 90 years old. The invitations were sent out to those seniors in our Safari database and our database from the Senior Nutritional Meals Program. We have a celebration once a month based on the major holidays associated with that month. On the slide we highlighted Mother's Day, Summer Luau, Thanksgiving, and Valentine's Day. Along with the monthly celebrations, we have small themed activities such as a Mother's Day tea party the day before the Mother's Day celebration, the holiday tree lighting, which is a couple weeks before the holiday celebration to get everybody into the holiday mood, And there is also a craft that we do before some of the celebrations. We'll do a luau bracelet and do some sort of themed craft before the celebration to get everybody into the mood of whatever holiday is there. Another popular activity we have is bingo on a weekly basis, even though some of the participants probably want it on a daily basis. This year's Senior Olympics was just held last weekend on Saturday, May 14th. Out of 7 participants, 4 of our seniors medaled. The Senior Olympics is a tournament looked forward to by our billiards players. This group was especially grateful for the game room, which they could perfect their game of 8-ball and throw darts while they're watching and waiting their turn for billiards. 6 days out of the week, seniors are welcome to participate in our fitness classes ranging from muscle toning with weights and aerobics to slow stretch and Tai Chi. We are offering a second class 3 times a week to keep up with the demand for exercise classes. The exercise room serves 70 people on a daily basis. For participant safety, the maximum occupancy is limited to 15 persons at a time. In addition to the machines and dumbbells, users may take advantage of the 6 cardio machines, which have an iPod connection, a USB key for tracking fitness goals through the machine's virtual trainer and TV. Through Glendale Community College, free classes are offered to seniors on a weekly or daily basis. These classes include computer classes, film appreciation, lip reading, and the others listed on here. Seniors enjoy monthly presentations done by medical practitioners on topics and issues specific to the senior community. Seniors are offered health screenings such as blood pressure, glucose, and cholesterol. These screenings assist seniors in monitoring their health care, but are advised to see their doctors in the event of a major concern. We offer a variety of excursions throughout the year to our seniors. In these slides, we have highlighted the Seeing Stars excursion, which they went to the Wax Museum and the Griffith Park Observatory, the San Diego by Land and Sea, and the Sea of Flowers in Escondido. And also, we are highlighting our new excursion that we will be doing on July 24th, and that's Iris at the Kodak Theater, and that's the Cirque du Soleil. So we will be going on that excursion this year, and we're really excited about it. Seniors can receive assistance with legal matters, medical insurance issues, notary, and local programs by making an appointment. And these services are offered free of charge. Our volunteers are an important part of our programs. They're important to sustain our programs, whether it's helping out at the front desk, setting up for celebrations, and serving lunch to the seniors in the meals program. When I look at the slides for community involvement, it occurs to me that it's more of a community participation. When we work with AARP and when we work with Caremore and Lakeside, we work together as a partner to come together for the wellness tour and for the screenings and also for the meals baskets for Thanksgiving. We also work with Braille Institute where they bring in a band to entertain the seniors, and also Univision Radio where they DJ'd one of our senior mixers. And here's some of the other collaborations that we do with different schools where we have volunteers come in, and we also work with Clark Magnet. We had a student come in and do a project with seniors that she did for her senior report Okay, and that is the end of the presentation. Are there any questions?
I actually had a couple questions. I think I got a few of the answers. The first was that a senior is defined as 60 years and older.
Yes.
Okay, according to what your report is. What is in terms of the adult recreation center, I've been there a number of times when they were serving lunch. It seems that it's just packed. What are the more popular? Is it the exercise room? And what's the most popular there at the adult recreation center? Or is just all of it?
It's all of it, and it's different groups utilizing it. So it is popular to the lunch participants, but it's a totally different group that may be using the fitness room and the exercise group. So not all of them come and eat lunch and then do the exercise. Most of them will come and do the exercise, leave, and then the lunch group will come in. So it's kind of, it depends which group is utilizing which one, if that makes sense.
Well, what time of the day probably too.
Yeah.
Have you seen a large increase over the since the slowdown in the economy? Or is that? I've
seen, well, we had a large increase once we moved into the new building. We had, and we had to create the other classes to keep up with all of that, the other exercise classes. And we haven't really seen a downturn as far as any of the recreational programs. Maggie's going to be doing the presentation on the meals, so she can probably answer more of the questions with the meals.
Okay. Thank you.
Anybody else? I know because I've used the facility a few times. The facility, during down periods, is available for rent, correct?
It is. Thank you for bringing that up. It is being rented on the weekend right now, and we are also available for rent during the day.
It's a great facility. And is there anything else, staff or commission? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Item 6B2, Senior Services Annual Report.
Commissioners, I'd like to introduce Maggie Kavarian. She is the Acting Community Service Supervisor who is stationed at the Adult Recreation Center, but she is the supervisor in charge of the Older Americans Act, which is a federal program, Congregate Meals Program, Integrated Services, and she takes care of that citywide. So Maggie has that responsibility.
Good afternoon, President Ropp-Fogel, Commissioners, and staff. I'm Maggie Kavarian, the Acting Community Services Supervisor for the Senior Services Programs. Today I'll be presenting our annual report, which includes Integrated Care Management, Home Delivered Meals Program, and the Congregate Meals Program. I'm going to start with the Integrated Case Management Program, which is funded directly by Community Development Block Grants and city funds, which help pretty much the most neediest of seniors in our community. There's a multitude of services, as you can see, that are offered under this one umbrella. We like to refer to case management as a one-stop shop. There's information and assistance, transportation assistance, proper nutritional care, caregiver support, housing, referrals, moving, utility assistance. The list goes on and on with the services that we provide. A lot of our referrals are actually directly from other city departments. We work directly with Glendale Water and Power. We work with the police department. We actually work with the local area hospitals, with the discharge planners who refer clients who are being released from hospitals into the home for case management and nutritional services, as well as the others listed up there. The nice thing is with our program, there is great collaboration within our own department. We actually work with Glendale Youth Alliance as well as Homeless Services to coordinate services for our seniors. Seniors are also welcome to walk in for services at the Adult Recreation Center. We offer bus tokens, taxi vouchers, farmers market coupons, with referrals and access to services that can be arranged by the case manager. Our number one request is for affordable housing. Well, the realistic side of our program, the case management program, is pretty much, it's up there. Basically, our case managers go into houses, they do home assessments, they do case planning, monitoring, and follow-up to help with those conditions. These are conditions that they see often, which is hazardous living, lack of appropriate nutrition, deteriorating health, as you can see up there. These are situations where a case manager works with the client or the family or even another social service provider to arrange for services and to just assist throughout the year. These are long-term clients. Our other program is Home Delivered Meals. Our Home Delivered Meals program is funded directly by LA County, the Older Americans Act grant, as well as 15% cash match by the city. The Home Delivered Meals program serves elderly and frail 60 years and older. Again, our case manager goes to the home, does the assessment, and gets the client on the meals program. We serve about 11,500 meals per year. Right here, what we have for you is a prepared meal. This is what is delivered to the seniors. We deliver 7 frozen meals per week. We actually prepared this on site so you can see. We serve baked fish with salsa, rice, beans, milk, juice, fruit, and of course, whole wheat bread. That's just one meal right there. We ask for a $2.50 donation, and we don't turn anyone away for non-payment. We wanted to show you how our program works and operates. 4 days a week, we have routes set up according to people who live in certain zip codes. Our caterer packs the meals that you had just seen and in individual ice chests, and our meal driver then loads and delivers to the clients. And right there is a view of the meals arriving at the client's home. Our drivers will put the food away. They unwrap everything for them. They even take out trash if they need to. Usually our driver is the direct access that the client has to us, in a sense. Because our clients are homebound, our program tries to go the extra mile to celebrate birthdays with balloons and small gifts. And we always are trying to find innovative ways to keep the client engaged because they are home alone. And part of that is our telephone reassurance program. Our staff calls the client on a weekly basis along with our case managers. So there's a lot of calls, a lot of interaction going on. Another program we have is the Caring Caller program that's done through the police department. It's a volunteer program where they match a senior volunteer with one of our clients for weekly well-being phone calls. And of course, Julianne had touched upon this, the Thanksgiving food drive. It really directly benefited our clients, the home delivered meals clients, with the assistance of Greater Glendale Council on Aging and very generous donations by city employees. This year it was a great success. We had over 60 seniors receive a month's worth of food. The Greater Glendale Council on Aging has also been wonderful in helping our integrated case management clients and our home delivered meals clients with gifts in our Santa to a Senior program. These are pictures of seniors who are very pleased to be receiving their gifts on Christmas. Their gifts were actually, we asked them what they would like for Christmas, and a lot of the answers were towels, blankets, socks, cleaning supplies, very basic needs. Our staff helped wrap many of those presents. And last but not least, we have our Congregate Meals program that you're all aware of at the Adult Recreation Center that you've seen. Our Congregate Meals program is also funded by LA County, again with a 15% cash match by the city. We have been feeding seniors since 1979. We have 3 nutritional meal sites. And our caterer, Morrison Catering, works directly at our newly built state-of-the-art kitchen at the Adult Recreation Center preparing the meals. And just so you know that the City of Glendale is only one of a handful of centers that actually offers meals 7 days a week in LA County. Very few do. We serve 125 to 150 meals per day at the Adult Recreation Center. Spar Heights Community Center also continues to be a great success. We serve over 45 meals a day, 5 days a week at Spar Heights Community Center. And again, same $2.50 donation. We don't turn anyone away for non-payment. Pacific Park Community Center has been growing. It serves 20 meals a day, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and has quite a following. What's wonderful about the Congregate Meals program is it's a great way to socialize, meet new friends, eat a nutritious lunch, and enjoy wonderful festivities offered by the Senior Recreation Program. We have over 1,200 unduplicated clients per year in this program. We have a very unique menu, very unique in LA County. We offer fish or meat every Friday. 45,000 meals are served every year in Glendale. And this is an example of a congregate meal. Basically, it provides 1/3 of the daily vitamins and minerals required by the famous food pyramid. We have an LA County registered dietitian who approves every item on the menu, works with staff and clients to make healthy food choices, and all our lunches are low in fat and sodium. And this is a way that you can see how our food service procedures are taking place. For many years, LA County has commended the City of Glendale's nutritional meals program as a standard for excellence. And really much of the accolades are attributed to the care and dedication of Irma Hopkins, our nutritional meals coordinator, and her staff. They work tirelessly to provide such services to the seniors of Glendale. And this is the end of the presentation, but I'd like to leave you with this. The census results recently came out, and there is a 14% increase in the senior population 60 years and older. And because of that, there's a demand for services, an increase in demand for services, and we're always looking for innovative ways to help the baby boomer population come to the center, just working on salad bar projects. We've thought of new ways to introduce technology to the center and build relationships with other senior services providers. If you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer.
Yes, you said 14% increase from
2000.
From 2000. And the number of home delivered meals per day or per month is?
Per month, we probably serve about 1,200 to 1,250.
Per month.
Per month.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Is it lunch and dinner or just lunch or?
It's just lunch. There's 7 frozen meals, but the nice thing is you get to pick and choose what you want for that day. Most seniors honestly cannot eat the whole thing, so they space it out.
This is more of a question for Jess, I think, from a budget perspective, because I know you've been going through the budget and you're going to give us an update, but is this a program that we've had to cut, or is this being kept, at least at this point?
President Khan, this is not a program that we are recommending to reduce.
Yeah. So, and then the increase that she just spoke about, the 14%, are we looking to increase it or just maintain what we currently have?
I believe it's all dependent on the funding from the county, and right now it's flattened out. But we are always interested in receiving more funding because the demand is there.
Sure. Thank you.
LA County did give us a slight increase this year because of the increase in need.
Great.
How many clients does each driver deliver to?
They deliver between 8 and 12 houses a day.
Okay, so they do have time to talk to them.
Oh, yes.
And visit with them. And then the calls they get, are those are on like other days, obviously, the wellness calls? And
Right. We call them in the morning to see if they'd like the meal. We discuss how they've been doing for the week, if they've eaten the meals. Sometimes they like to hold on to their milk and their food, and we try to get them to either eat it or throw it out. And then we have the caring caller program, which actually contacts us if they're not around and they're concerned. And that way we always discuss with the caring caller program, the driver, and ourselves on what's going on with that client who has no family unit.
And the meals that are at the ARC and the other locations, do you have to be a Glendale resident for those?
You don't have to be a Glendale resident to eat the meals at the centers. We prefer that you are a Glendale resident for the home delivered meals just because of the driving that has to be done and the placement of the houses basically, because we can only do 8 to 12 a day with one driver within a 4-hour period. So
great.
One more question.
Yes, of course.
Our total budget is $517,000. Am I reading this correct? And portion of it is salaries and benefits. The other portion says maintenance and operating expenses. Is the cost of food?
That's contractual. Yes.
Okay.
Contractual services.
Right. Thank you.
Most of that is to pay the vendor for the food service of the M&O.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And what is next?
Item 6B3, reforestation of Shoal Canyon.
Couldn't have had to reforest if...
I know.
President Rob Commissioners, my name is Gary Morello. I'm the Park Services Administrator. The long-awaited completion of the Shoal Canyon reforestation has been done now. Before I start, I'd like to thank a few people who did give me a big hand with this. Mark Sturdivant was a great help in taking the pictures for these. Coco Panosian and Aram Makarian helped me put it together, so I want to thank their help for this. But we did this in collaboration with the Public Works Department. So between the two of us, it started very well and completed very well. You'll see the very beginning is the existing conditions. There was approximately 100 trees that were dead on the hillside. They were all due to drought mainly, but after the drought hit, the flathead borers and the pine bark beetle took out the rest of the trees that were there. So we counted them up with Public Works. Myself and Anne Marie Sheets worked with me over there, and we decided to do, instead of a individual project like I was going to do, which was going to take me about 5 years to reforest, they had some money in their tree ordinance account, and we decided to put this project together. So as you can see, there's a lot of dead stuff, there's a lot of dead wood, a lot of actually fuel for fire. So we wanted to get, that was part of the deal that we wanted to get done. So we removed all the dead trees. Like I said, over 100 of them were removed. And that it gave light to the hillside, which brought in some grasses, which we eventually took care of too. But throughout the process, they took it and they mulched all that mulch out and took it out away from for us. Then there's a couple of shots of far away with all the hillside, all the stumps being cut. These guys are kind of looking for where their trees used to be. They don't know where it's at, so we quickly got around to getting the order put in, and we started planting new trees. We planted approximately 87 trees were planted, along with 22 other California natives. Everything from coast live oaks, mesa oaks, valley oaks, western sycamores, incense cedar, had California bay trees in there, lemonade berry shrub, toyon, scrub oak, evergreen currant, and some wild lilac. All are drought tolerant, all are fire resistant. So we're hoping that in the next incoming years that the irrigation that you'll see in just a minute will basically can be abandoned for the most part and not have to use it after they get to be mature after a couple of years. Again, West Coast Arborists was the company that did it. They did a really great job. They worked really hard on that hillside, which is not exactly the most forgiving environment with all the rock and whatnot on there. But you can see some of the purple pipe that's down at the bottom right now. That's And the trees that are installed, the purple pipe is the recycled water that we have up there. We used to have a spray system that would water that hillside, and we changed it all out. We put in over 1,600 feet of half-inch, 1.5-inch pipe, purple pipe, and 8,500 feet of half-inch tubing with approximately 600 emitters, for 3 to 5 for each tree, depending on the size of the tree. You can see some of the tubing that we went around to, and we came off of the main. It's a loop system. The purple pipe goes from the top all the way around to the bottom and back up again, so anywhere in the area we could connect to it. Again, we're hoping there are a few pine trees left up there that will need some water, but we're hoping that with the mulch that you'll see in just a second, it'll protect or save the water for the trees. Again, there it is right there. We went to each tree, and anywhere from 3 to 5 emitters at, I believe, 2 gallons an hour were put on there. We'll run the system for approximately 1 day a week for maybe 4 to 6 hours. That should be enough water to take care of them for the springtime. This summer, we'll probably run it a little bit more. Hopefully by next spring, after the winter rains, that water can be cut in half, and then eventually, in another year after that, it'll all be gone. We can just shut the system down, and only occasionally, in maybe the hottest of summers, turn it on for once a month or something like that. But let's see here. That's the mulch we used around each tree. As you can see on the right-hand side, it was an oak pine mulch specifically for around the trees. But the entire hillside had to be mulched, and we put in, I believe it's approximately 85,000 square feet or cubic feet of mulch when they eventually were finished with it all. We used pine mulch, we used oak mulch, we used palm tree, not so much the palm frond itself, but some of the harder materials on the palm. We used sycamore, whatever we had. We were trying to use different mulches. And there's going to be a 4 to 6 inch layer of mulch over that entire hillside when we get done with this. They used tractors. They dumped it over the top of the hill, of the fence on the top. They ran it up from the bottom. The guys were spreading it by hand. It was really quite a job, but it looks a whole lot nicer now when it's all done. It should be self-sustainable. It's all the shrubs are watered, all the trees are watered, and the mulch should conserve all the moisture that's on there and stop all the weeds from coming back up when the rains hit. As you can see, it's very clean. We are hoping it stays because of the thick mulch that clean, and we're hoping that the sustainability of it is long-lasting for the next 50 to 100 years, maybe more. More pictures from way out there, and that's it. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer. If not,
questions?
Great project.
I'm going to go look.
Pardon me?
I'm going to go look.
It's really nice right now.
Yeah.
It came out really good.
Where did the mulch come from? Was it mulch that we had from the trees that we cut down, or did we
No,
buy
we didn't
some?
use that mulch because it had beetle larvae in it.
Yeah.
It had disease in it. It had rot in it. So we had it all carted away. All those hundreds and millions of pounds of wood just carted away, and they brought in all clean mulch that was not sterilized, but at least it was clean wood that was mulched up, and they mulched it specifically for us.
Do we, though, on occasion, get mulch from when we cut down the trees, or do we do that anyway for trees that are healthy?
Oh, we do that all the time. We always we have street department dump mulch for us in a lot of areas that we would like to use it. We dump it at Fremont Park and Glorietta Park, places that have a lot of mulch. If you've never been to Glorietta, we've taken out 500 plants and replaced it with mulch around the trees. We always call for it. Even the companies that come in to do tree work for us, they lower their price because I'll take their mulch, and they all know that. So it's a good relationship, and it's just Mother Nature. It's sustainable.
John, thank you.
Thank you.
Item 6B4, monthly activity reports at A, Park Services.
I'm back again. Just a couple things real fast. You'll have a report on the MSB, the Multiple Municipal Services Building. We did some re-landscaping because of some things that were not correct in there. It was not a great planting job, and the contractor did not perform as well as he should have. So I was tasked with the job of getting it done and making it look decent. So next time around, I should be able to have a few pictures of that and show you what it looked like and what it went to. Also, spring has apparently sprung, even though the weather doesn't seem like it sometimes, but everybody is out hard at work, maintaining the landscapes, and we're working on Stengel Field to finish up for the Wood Bat League. So that's all I've got.
A lot.
Any questions? Then what is next?
Item 6B4B, Recreation and Community Services.
President Rockfogle and Commissioners, at the last Commission meeting, there was a request to see what we could do about some increased recreation swim time for the pool, the new Pacific pool that's opening up. So I've asked Gabrielle Goglia, who is our Community Service Supervisor in charge of the aquatics program, to come and just give us a real quick update on what we've done to increase the time. And in addition, we decided that we needed to, in order to do this, we needed to take a look at what's going on in the area. So as we usually will do, we'll give you a chart of what's going on and how we compare to that. So Gabrielle's going to sort of point some things out to you. You have the WRAP, which is a summer handout that we do for all the summer activities. A lot of the schools all get this, and they look forward to this because this talks about the day camp programs, the summer recreation programs and activities, the pools that are opening up, which is Hoover and the Pacific Pool, so all sorts of activities for the summer. So this is our big publication that goes out to all the public schools. Gabrielle Goglia, Community Service Supervisor.
Good afternoon, President Rockfogle and members of the Commission. We have distributed out the Glendale Wrap-Up, which is our summer youth program brochure, and you may notice that on the First Aquatics page, that insert, we did update those specific. This went to print prior to our meeting in April, so we are actually working with our graphics department right now to have that updated so that our website will have the accurate information on it. We had brought to you in April a presentation about the rental rates at Pacific Community Pool, and a suggestion had come back from the Commission that we add more recreation swim time, and we are pleased to announce that we have added quite a bit of recreation swim time to the program on the weekends. We had originally reported that we would be offering recreation swim on the weekends from 1 to 4 p.m. We've extended those hours from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. So we've added 4 hours a day each weekend day to the recreation swim time. We've actually compared our hours of operation to the local cities around us. This is not a comprehensive list of all of the comparable cities because the Glendale kids wouldn't be able to go to Torrance or Anaheim to swim. So we've just brought to you today the cities that are nearest to us that the kids might be able to go to. And as you can see, we far exceed the hours of operation that the other cities are going to be offering. So on Saturday and Sunday, the 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. is quite a bit more time than any of the other local pools, municipal pools, and some private, like the Rose Bowl Swim Stadium. On the weekdays, we will be open from 6:30 a.m. until 8:30 p.m. with various programming. That will include lap swim, water polo, community swim team, lessons, and the recreation swim time that we'll have in the afternoons every day. Are there any questions about our schedule?
I have a comment, not a question. I think it's great that you did that. I think that really responded to what we had talked about the last time, trying to get those additional hours, and that makes a lot of sense. I mean, when it gets hot, I mean, obviously, about 11 is right, and 6 is nice. I mean, it goes that far. I don't know if it's always that hot, that late, but at least I'd rather err on the side of giving too much than too little. So thank you for listening to us.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Sure.
Yes, I just want to thank you for this also. I know when we talked last month that one of the concerns about the long hours was the safety, so I hope you'll just keep us up to date on how that's going and make sure that we're looking at safety as well as number of hours, but this is great, and I know the community will be very, very happy to have those extra hours. Thank you.
And we will report back to you about our participation and how the summer goes.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yes. I wasn't here last time, so indulge me if you will. What is the capacity of the swimming pool?
I believe the entire pool is 225 people maximum capacity, and that's set by the LA Department Health Code. It's a surface area. You can have so many people per square feet of surface area of pool.
And the hours between 11 to 6, do they have a certain hours that they can stay, or a person can come in all day long and stays? And
That was one of our concerns, is if a child came in all day. We do allow them to stay all day long. We will have lifeguards, certified lifeguards up on the tower, keeping an eye on the children and watching out. And one of the things that we'll do is between 11 a.m. and 1 p.m., the pool will be shared use. So we'll have some lap swim going on at the same time as the recreational swim. And then again, from 4 to 6, we'll have that shared lap swim and recreational swim so that adults can also get some time in the water. But if a child came at 11 a.m., they could conceivably stay all the way until 6 p.m.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
My only question is about the wrap-up. This publication, did it go out in the Thursday folders? Did each school just get a stack of them? How was that distributed?
I'm going to let you answer that because you distribute.
Yes, we had 17,000 copies of that printed, and actually our senior volunteers at the Spar Heights Community Center counted them into little packets of 10 and 12 and 15, and they went to every child in the Thursday folders.
Great.
And that should have gone out last Thursday in all of their folders.
That's super.
We also have them downstairs available at our community center front desk.
Anything else?
I'd like to bring a few dates. I'd like to give you a few dates of some upcoming activities that we do have that Community Services and Parks is involved in. On May 25th, the Character and Ethics Project, which is citywide in Glendale, is hosting the ACE Awards at the Alex Theater at 7 p.m. This is a project that is brought to you by the Character and Ethics, the Glendale Unified School District, and the City of Glendale. Staff from various departments serve on the Character and Ethics Committee, and various volunteers from the community are on that committee. And the ACE stands for Athletes with Character and Ethics, and what we do is award nominees. Each of the high schools have nominated athletes with character and for sportsmanship moments that they have done throughout the year. There might be one moment that really stands out in a coach's mind or an athletic director's mind, and we award the ACE Awards to them. That's the athlete with character and ethics. So it's a nice event. It was well attended last year. It was the first event, and now this will be the second inaugural event that we'll be having. In addition, we have aquatics registration. That's coming up June 11th. It will be held at the Pacific Park Pool, at the pool lobby, and it will be from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Saturday, June 11th, and there is always a line. In the past, the registration has taken place at the sports complex or at the Civic Auditorium. This time it will be directly at the Pacific Pool. We will have all the staff there. So people should go to the pool, not the Civic Auditorium, in order to register. The secondary date is Sunday, June 12th from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m., and that will be the second date. Not a lot of pool time left for lessons because most of the time on Saturday it fills up. So if you have children, anyone has children and they'd like to register, those are the two dates.
Do they have to register in person or can they register online?
They have to register in person. This is one of the few programs that we do have that you must register in person, just because it fills up so rapidly. If we were to do, we've entertained and we've worked with online registration and phone-in registration, and it just does not work because by the time you get to the front of the line, within 15, 20 minutes, something could be completely gone. So it's just more, it's fair this way. And we did do a survey a few years ago of the participants in the aquatics program and asked them what they would like. Would they like us to serve them better online or through phone? And they felt that this was much more fair. The standing in line was fair for everyone. So we've asked them, and they've responded that way. Now we have a new group of clientele after the last few years, so maybe it's a survey we need to eventually do again within the next couple of years as we move online and we start going green with the programs that we're going to be registering for. And that's it. Thank you.
Any other questions? What is next, please?
6B, 4C, CIP projects.
Mr. Ahern, I believe that's you.
Yes, sir. Chairman Ralph Fogel, members of the commission, nice to see you, Commissioner Garpetian.
Thank you. Nice to see you, too.
Good to be back with you, sir. Had a brief PowerPoint just to give you some visuals on some of the stuff that will be occurring in the very near future for the commission. The picture is a picture of the original Dugmasian barn before the 1930, I think it was 1935 fire. It's Dave Weaver standing on the stairs.
As an adult or a child?
I'm not sure. That's what Jess told me. I'm not sure about that. Anyways, that's an original picture of the barn. Then the fire, I believe in 1935, burned the whole area up there. And after that, there was the heavy rains and the floods of 37, 38 that everyone talks about. The barn now has a curved roof structure on it, and that was redone later. And the barn is going through a seismic retrofit currently. We're almost done with that, and we'll wrap that up in June. It's almost a $2 million project on the retrofit, about 1.6. In addition to that, we had applied for a grant to convert the barn into a nature center. We were not successful in getting that grant. Highly competitive statewide, but we're looking for some additional funding to at least finish up the flooring, the electrical, the HVAC, and the bathrooms. About $1 million worth of work. And if we can get that work done this year, then we can at least use the building. We'll have the shell and the new windows, doors, and all the things that are necessary for the building to be code compliant. It has a new fire sprinkler system in it, new roofing, and all of that. So we'll finish up the roofing and the seismic retrofit and bringing the fire sprinkler system and the utilities to it in June of this year. We have luck with finding additional funding. We'll at least be able to use the building possibly by the end of the year. The other project that will be completed soon is the Pacific Park Pool. You'll recall that we began construction on that December 1st. The pool is now almost 100% complete. We anticipate having a TCO on this tomorrow. All the stars line up, and staff can move in. Tentatively, they're set to move in on the 27th. If we get our TCO and a few other things done, we'll be able to have this facility ready for them to move into at the end of next week, so a little bit early. They don't know that yet, so don't tell them because it's a surprise. But the groundbreaking the ribbon cutting for the pool is June 4th at 1 o'clock. I believe that's been sent to all the commissioners via email except Commissioner Garpetian, and we'll get you on our email distribution for that. So hopefully all of you are available. We'll have I'm sure, a fairly lively dedication ceremony for this. It's a 4,000 square foot building, 6-lane pool. The recreation area in the pool is 45 feet by 82 feet approximately. So about 4,000 square feet of surface area for water.
Speaking of water, how is the water?
Fantastic. I recommend it.
Was it warm the day you were in it?
It was. That was. Someone has to test that, and
Yeah.
I volunteered. So it's actually quite great. Let's get a better shot of it here. You can see it. They're assembling the lifeguard towers now and the water polo nets and all the things. The lane lines have to be put together, and We've got to get our gas meter in to get the boiler fired up, and that should happen tomorrow, and get our approval from County Health. Our motto has been "Kids in the Water, June 4th," so we're sticking to it, and we will be on time within budget. So George Hopkins Construction, they've done a fabulous job. Second major project we've done with them. You always have challenges when you have that client-contractor relationship, but at the end of the day, they have been absolutely a fabulous firm to work with, and very positive from the standpoint of putting a local contractor to work on a public project. They use a lot of local subcontractors and suppliers, such as Weekman Concrete. So these projects do a lot of good in terms of providing recreation for the community. The cost of the work, we're buying this work at 80 cents on the dollar. So think of it from an investment standpoint. We're saving 20% on these projects right now. Where else would we make 20% on our money? So this is the time, and we're also putting people to work and providing a recreational opportunity for the community that can go into service right away. So it's just a great time to have these public projects underway. If we can see the next one, this is Maple Park. We'll have the groundbreaking for Maple Park on June 18th, I believe at 9:30 in the morning. And we'll make sure that you get another email on that along with the invitation. Maple Park was a complete renovation of the existing 12,000 square foot building, and then a 5,000 square foot addition. You'll recall this building was a series of additions over about 50 years, and so it had a lot of issues in terms of accessibility, managing the building. We had no interior hallways, so you had circulation problems. You couldn't really effectively manage the building from one office because you had to walk around the outside of the building to understand who was in any room at any given time. So now it has an interior hallway that connects all the rooms, interior stairwells, gurney-sized elevator for handicap accessibility. The ramp has been, the exterior ramp that was put on years ago has been cleaned up. All the door systems, all the hardware has been improved, HVAC, electrical, plumbing, roof. This building has a solar roof on it now. The solar shingles on this roof are a fairly new technology where the solar shingles incorporated right into the shingle itself. So you don't even know that there's a solar component to this unless someone were to tell you, because the solar cells are integral to the shingle material. The slate backing on those shingles has a 50-year life on it. And solar cells have a 20-year life, and they can be replaced individually. And
Was
we'll
that
buy-
expensive?
It was expensive, but the decision to go with that technology was more of a policy decision than an economic decision. And the goal was to be a policy leader in green building design. And so the cost recovery on this doesn't pencil out, but the design, the leadership is what really works. The educational component will have a computer kiosk in the lobby hooked up to the electric meter that shows how much electricity is being generated by the system and explaining green technology. Hopefully for kids and park users, that'll be an interesting educational piece that accessible in the building lobby. If we go to the next slide, you'll see here's the new lobby. This building, it's a first-class facility, southern part of our city, in an area where some of the facilities are much older and in less than peak condition. They now have a Class A facility that will be the envy of park users everywhere in California. In addition to that, the green building aspects of this, although it's not a LEED certified building, Audrey Nagol-Nazarian, the project manager on this, and really the people that do the real work day to day. George Walteria is the other project manager on this. He's our senior project manager. And together they researched all the green building aspects for this. The insulation material in the walls is recycled blue jeans. Later technology, kind of cutting edge, but it also has a noise attenuation value to it as well as an insulation value. Recycled rubber in the floor treads, solar components in the roof, the recycled concrete throughout, of course, recycled rubber materials, and tile materials, and carpeting materials. So it's quite exceptional. I think when you see this facility, you see the storefront glass walls that are full height there, and those were chosen to be in those locations to provide visual access for the staff over the playground area and the green area where the kids play, where the most sensitive users of the park are at, and where we want to have the greatest level of supervision. We've also put park security cameras in this facility. If we go to the next slide, you'll see we can now manage the second floor gymnasium from the first floor because we have cameras up there now. And before you had to exit the building, go outside and go up the ramp to get into the gymnasium. So they never knew who was in the gym unless you had somebody up there. Now they can actively manage it and program it from downstairs. This gym also gets rented out for, birthday parties and small receptions, and it's very popular. We've built an outside second floor patio that goes with it for a cooling off area. We've added bathrooms on the first and second floor, one of the main requests with this renovation, and gone far beyond the code requirement for bathrooms, anticipating the assembly use and what would really make sense for a facility of this scale. You see the what looks like the skeletal components of that interior roof line. Those are glulam beams. They were painted over. They looked very dreary. They were a faded plum color. The process of doing the work, we realized that the material was actually quite lovely. And so we had the beams stripped and refinished, and they really are the art component of the inside of that gym. One of the artists said that he felt like he was inside the belly of a whale with inside that rib cage. You see the HVAC tube going down the center at the roof line. That's a soft sock. It's not a hard component, and again, it's part of that energy efficiency design where it does a better job, a more efficient job of letting out heat and air, and makes the facility, which didn't have heating and air conditioning before, more desirable for use than it was previously. And again, all that work was done by George Walteria and Audrey Nagol-Nazarian. The pool that we just talked about, Haga Kasabian and Peter Verheilik are the two project managers. And these staff, they do such an outstanding job. You don't see them because they're out on the project sites or they're at the permit counters, and they're just spending on the pool. They're working evenings, Saturdays, Sundays. Project managers in the Parks Department do not receive overtime pay. They are on salary. But they are making sure that we deliver these projects on time within budget. I get to sit up here and tell you about the projects, and that's nice for me, but the people that do the work aren't me. I'm not the person that does the work. Sorry, Laurel. It's the staff that gets the work. George and Agap and Audrey and Peter are just a few of the staff that are really just delivering tremendous value to this community and represent this department so well. So that ribbon cutting is on May 18th, and then we have one more. This is, let's go one more.
June 18th?
June 18th?
June 18th,
June
yes.
18th.
And then June 25th, we have Griffith Manor Park, $2 million renovation financed by the Redevelopment Agency for Griffith Manor Park, one of our oldest parks in the city, approximately 3 acres. Complete renovation of that park.
The new building you can see here, the roof line, reminds you of an airport hangar, and that was done purposely to provide a design that was reminiscent and sympathetic to the major land uses in that area at the time, the Grand Central Air Terminal and all the air industry that was there. At the next slide, you'll see the finishing exterior touches are going on, and in the next slide, you'll see they're finishing up the inside of the building. This park gets a new parking lot, new park community building, 2,600 square feet, again for birthday parties and community activities. United Cerebral Palsy uses this. The Swing Society has their dance classes in the old buildings there, so this was one that was used extensively. It will be wildly popular now. We've designed this park to have a number of picnic areas with shade structures and barbecues. It gets all new landscaping, irrigation, fencing. It gets a new basketball court, new parking lot, and all of this was done with input from the community to provide a design that meets their needs, to include the park components that the community wants, and then arrange them in a way that we can manage it more effectively and keep the park safe. So the building is brought to the front, so is the parking lot. Those were areas where people were hanging out and engaging in activities that were not consistent with what you'd want in your park. And so this way, having those at the street edge, we're able to visually see them, and it becomes a less inviting location for those activities. The groundbreaking for that park is on June 25th at 9:30. Shahin Bagumian, many of you know Shahin. He's the project manager on this park. It's going to rain on him again tomorrow. He's very upset. He's trying to get his parking lot finished and landscaping in. So
picture him upset.
Yes, he gets excited from time to time. As I told you earlier, the barn restoration, at least the seismic component will be done. Trail reconstruction on the Duke has been, as far as we've had funding for, it's been completed. There's more trail building to do up there, and if we receive additional funding, we'll do that. The station fire recovery efforts continue with the reforestation, the monthly cleanups at the park, the community outreach process. Now we've gone on for 2 years with that, that go well beyond the park and deal with, sandbagging and community information meetings throughout the community. So that's all done. We will be bidding out the Glendale High School tennis court project. That's the reconstruction of 6 tennis courts. Mr. Balteria just went out to bid on that a couple of weeks ago. He had his pre-bid meeting last week. The ARC Park, which is the park component around the ARC, a 1.75-acre park. We're trying to negotiate design and build for that component. If we're able to do that, then we'll get that built before the end of the year. Finish that up. The tennis courts will be built during the summer when school's out. Columbus Soccer Field, we have a community meeting on May 26th. For that project, the EIR is finalized and been out and available for the community. We'll be taking that to the council in June for final adoption of the EIR. We're working on a trail planning grant for 2 trails up at the sports complex, the Catalina Verdugo Trail and the Mountain Dew Trail. Jeff Weinstein and Mark Sturdivant are the lead on that, and that's just in the design and planning stage, same way with the Columbus EIRs. We also have a campground planning grant that we've been working on for a while now. We've identified 2 to 3 locations for possible overnight campgrounds. No fires in these grounds, but they're those kind of entry-level camping experience that we could facilitate here locally as a way of providing that for younger children and organized groups, Boy Scouts, things like that, church groups. We are also working on a grant application for renovation of Palmer Park. You'll recall that was rebuilt about 15 years ago. That park is heavily used. It's so oversubscribed by users that the facility just literally cannot keep it going at this rate. So we'll have to rebuild a number of components there. We've been doing community outreach on that. Maryland Mini Park, we are just about to go into plan check on that park. That's a $1.9 million project. We're in design on the adaptive reuse of the garage at the Verdugo Adobe. We're going to convert the garage building into ADA accessible bathrooms. It's a non-original building, non-historic building. And then we'll look at recapturing some of the grounds that had been converted to parking areas and driveway space for the residential use that was there in the 50s, return that back to park space, make it more of a natural setting for that facility. We're in design on security fencing for both Car Park and Brand Park. Significant amount of fencing. George Balteria is leading the design on that along with Lila Batar. Lila's leading the work on the Verdugo Adobe bathrooms. We'll then be working on prelim design for Maple Park lighting and irrigation and landscaping as another phase. Currently getting bids for re-roofing several of the buildings at Rockhaven and replacing a major sewer line to the caretaker's house at Rockhaven. So not a huge project, but a project that really needs to get done now because that's an occupied dwelling, provide for maintenance. Several other minor things that we're working on, but that's the majority of what we're doing. We have these 3 parks open by June 25th. And June 30th, I'm retiring from the city of Glendale to work July 1st for LA City Councilman Tom LaBonge. I'll be his deputy director. Conclude my career with Glendale June 30th. Roughly 30 years with the city.
Wow.
Dave Ahern will be out of the building.
And missed.
But you will be in good hands. You have Mr. Duran, you have Mr. Valteria, Mr. Morello, and the staff in the Park CIP group that are just some of the most talented and thoughtful people I've ever worked with. Certainly some of the smartest people, dedicated people. It's been my pleasure to work with this commission, each and every one of you. And Barton and I have worked together on other things when he was on the commission, when I was back in the agency, representing auto dealers in the bad old days. But those are the major things that we're doing in the CIP section, and hopefully we can find time to get a cup of coffee between now and when I leave. Thank you.
Any questions? Laurel.
I have a question and then I have a comment. The bathrooms at the Verdugo Adobe.
Yes, ma'am.
We're in design review, you said?
We're in design.
In design. Do you have a start date for that or any?
I don't have a start date on it. We've got several steps that we'll have to take with that. Right now, we're in the engineering process of laying out the bathroom, making sure that we can accommodate it within that footprint, and then identifying an ADA path of travel that works for all of that. So that's got a ways to go. It may be something that we can get under construction before Christmas, but I'm not sure of that. We'll have to go to Historic Preservation Commission. Depending on the source of funding, we may have to go to the SHPO, the State Historic Preservation Office, because of the age of the facility, and it's a National Register eligible site. So there's a lot that needs to happen with that. We can keep you updated monthly here at these meetings. I know there's a users group. I'm a dues-paying member of DOV, and wouldn't do anything to interfere with there.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
And then I just wanted to say, gosh, Dave, we worked together for probably the whole 30 years you were here.
Years I was here.
We worked together for a very long time, and you will be very much missed by the city and by the commission, and I certainly wish you all the best and hope that we keep in touch.
We will. Thank you.
But we get you for one more month, though, right?
Yes, sir.
So,
Sir.
Any other questions? I have a question about Maple Park.
Yes, sir.
Now, it sounds like we did everything that we could do where it could have been LEED certified. Why wasn't it?
At the time that we embarked on that project, that wasn't the direction. LEED certification is an expensive process. Commissioning a LEED building and all of that has to happen from the very beginning. There's some ways to make up that ground, but you're looking at spending somewhere in the neighborhood of $100,000 to $150,000 to have that certification. So we had gone forward with the design without that, then got direction to really do everything possible to make this a green building. So we thought the money was best spent on the physical improvements, not going back on
good choice. Yeah.
So, and frankly, we just we're so focused on getting the improvements underway. It had been such a long process in getting a design pulled together for that we just move forward with it and put the money in the building instead.
And then while you're working for the councilman, I'm hopeful that you'll try and convince him that he needs to help, or the city of LA needs to help pay for our bridge between our two cities and the bike path.
Absolutely, absolutely. He doesn't watch this channel, so I'll certainly
I'll
do that.
I'll commit. I'll take that commitment.
he doesn't watch this channel?
No, sir.
Any other questions or comments? What is next?
6B4D CDBG homeless programs.
Who's up?
Yes, President Rofogel, I'd like to call up Mr. Moises Carrillo to give you a brief overview of the CDBG program, followed by Yvette Samvelian, our homeless coordinator. We did go to the City Council and the Housing Authority on May 3rd to approve revised funding recommendations. The recommendations had to be revised because we were notified very late by HUD of a reduction in CDBG funding, and so that's what Mr. Carrillo will present to you.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Moises Carrillo with Community Service and Park and the CDBG program. As Mr. Duran mentioned, we did have some difficulties and challenges with the CDBG program this year. Your report shows that we had I believe made a written report to the committee that we were going to, to the commission, that we had some CDBG Advisory Committee recommendations that unfortunately with the federal budget had a significant reduction in funding. That was about 16.4% in federal funding for CDBG. And of course, CDBG funds a number of community service programs as well as capital improvement programs. So that kind of took us by surprise. We didn't expect to see a significant funding cut in CDBG. So we actually had to go back to our CDBG Advisory Committee and make some other funding recommendations. We were fortunate that the committee made some very interesting and very creative ways of dealing with the budget. They actually went back and made some revisions to the CDBG social services by reducing funding for those that were new programs. So any new program for CDBG was not funded this year. We had to revert back to our current funded projects, and with those, most of the projects received only about a 5% funding cut. Some received no funding cut from recommendations, not from the previous year. So there was some very challenging times for the committee to make their funding recommendations. One of the projects that we had to balance out was the Pacific Park artificial turf project, and that actually had to have about 220 $220,000 funding difference, and the impact was that was going to just make the balance of the funds equate the amount of funding we received. So there was a cut to the Pacific Park turf project, and that had to happen to balance out the capital improvement funds. We didn't want to make any other, or actually the committee didn't want to make any other changes to the recommendations as far as some of the nonprofits, as far as some of the city capital projects, because those were pretty well defined. We think that we would be able to make up the difference in the subsequent 2012-13 year. So basically, the city is going to proceed with its current funding, given the reduction, and continue with all the projects that actually had been recommended from last year, and continue on the capital projects. You'll notice that there's some projects that are new as far as the business assistance program and the Section 108 loan for the half achieved Glendale building. So there are some new projects, but by and large, it's a continuation of what's currently funded, and we hope that this year we won't receive any significant funding cuts, but we don't know. Again, it's just it's a federal issue that has been going on now for the past few months, and hopefully we will not see any significant funding cuts for the next fiscal year. Are there any questions on the funding cuts? Okay.
Did this go to the City Council to be approved, or is that not required?
Yes, actually, yes, Commissioner Khan, that did go to the City Council with the recommendations by the Advisory Committee, and it was approved by the by the City Council. I believe it was May 3rd.
Okay.
And they did approve.
You probably said that. I don't. Thank you.
But they did. No, I actually forgot to mention that they did approve it. The plan is actually open for public comment for any comments as we proceed with submitting the application to the Department of Housing and Urban Development, where it gets submitted in June.
Anything else? Any other questions? Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Good afternoon, President Rothvogel, members of the Commission, Yvette Sanvalian, Homeless Coordinator for the City of Glendale. Congratulations on the new appointments for Mr. Rothvogel and Mr. Garabedian. I oversee the Glendale Homeless Continuum of Care and Homeless Services. We provided a report to you regarding two programs in terms of the homeless services. One is the Homeless Prevention and Rapid Rehousing Program, which was funded in 2009 for families and individuals who have lost their income due to the economy, and the program prevents homelessness. It provides intensive case management for the families and the individuals that participate in the program. We provided some information in terms of total calls and some more specifics in terms of the services that we provide through our department, but I would like to highlight that we have served over 51 households. These are 51 households that could have been homeless. We prevented homelessness for the 51 households. Of the 51 families we've served, over 21 have already graduated, and we have 18 currently enrolled in our program. The program provides intensive case management for all members of the households, including working with them to provide, connecting them to employment services, Vertigo Job Center. Some of them who are seniors do also access senior services, meals program, and case management through that. Of the 21 households that have graduated the homeless prevention program, 53% of our clients have obtained employment. These are families that came to us without any employment or income, and 53% have obtained employment and now are stably housed. The program provides up to 1 year of rental subsidy and utility subsidy for households, and the expectation is that the families work through the continuum, work through the services, and get them back into self-sufficiency, increase their income and skills to get back on their own feet so that they're able to sustain their own housing. We do have 18 currently enrolled in our program, and we'd continue to seek for additional families who are at risk so that we can work with them under this program. If you have any questions, I would answer them related to the homeless prevention rapid rehousing. If not, then I can move on to the next report.
I have one question. You said there were 51 families that you served?
Yes, sir.
And how many applications did we have?
We have, on page 3 of the report, I have all the details. We sent out over 625 received over 625 applications. Some of the participants were not eligible for our program because they're not Glendale residents or they don't have ties to the city of Glendale, so we refer them out to other services. Some of the inquiries were not eligible due to the specific requirements of this program, so we continue to work with those clients to refer them out. Those that have gone through our process, we have, so over 192 households have gone through our process, and 111 of the households withdrew from our application process for some reason or another. 81 households have continued with the process. We've currently served 51 households. We are still reviewing and approving documentation for over 30 households, so it's an ongoing process. And typically, families that inquire about the program, we require them to provide us bank statements, utility shut-off notices, lease agreements, and so on and so forth, information related to the loss of their income due to the economy, and then we move forward. They need to agree to do case management, which we meet with them on a monthly basis or biweekly, depending on each of the cases and the special needs, and work with every member of the household to connect them to either mainstream resources or employment, and so that they're able to sustain their program. The program pays rent, about 30% of clients' income towards rent, and the client is also responsible to save a certain percent of their income so that eventually they become self-sufficient.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
If I may very quickly summarize possibly the point that you're raising, Commissioner Garpetian, but less than 1 out of 10 persons that inquired about the program were actually eligible for the program. In order to benefit from this program, you had to document very clearly that your situation was directly related to the economy. And most people that called had other reasons why they felt they needed assistance. So more than 1 out of 10, or more than 9 out of 10 were screened out because their income situation was not a direct result of the economy.
Thank you.
Yvette, we only have, and Don, we only have about 5 minutes left because there's a meeting following this one. Your mistake? Okay, never mind. Sorry.
Okay.
Please
I'll be
continue.
quick.
Okay.
The next one is the homeless count. We conducted our homeless count on January 26th. We have identified 412 unduplicated homeless individuals in the city of Glendale. Statistics in the entire report is provided to you. I do want to mention a couple of facts that has changed from last year. The number of families have decreased from 35% to 28% this year. One is as a result of the Homeless Prevention Rapid Rehousing Program, and the other is that our agencies, Path Achieve Glendale, Door of Hope, YWCA, those agencies that provide family housing programs for families are really working with families to place them into permanent housing very aggressively. And in terms of the rest of the statistics, the number of veterans has decreased from last year to this year since the city of Glendale received additional funding for permanent housing for 5 veterans. And so Path Achieve Glendale, again, with the city, is working aggressively to place the veterans through either the city's program or through the VASH program. But if you have any specific questions regarding the homeless count, I'd be happy to answer them now. Or bring back to you if there's any questions I cannot answer.
I do. First of all, I know you had to be quick, but you deserved recognition. There was actually I don't know if it was attended by the newspapers. It was a press release or something that I sat and watched, and Yvette was spearheading this count. And it's a complicated count. It's not something that's quick or easy to do. And they went out at what time in the morning?
I think you're just talking about the 100,000 homes campaign. This is a different point in time count. This count is done on one day in on January 26th. The 100,000 Homes campaign was part of a national campaign that I think I came back to you guys for a presentation in April. Basically, Path Achieve Glendale was leading the efforts. Volunteers and staff volunteered 3 nights from 4 a.m. to 6 a.m. We walked around the city of Glendale canvassing and interviewing homeless clients so that we can identify our most vulnerable homeless clients who are on the streets. And there was a survey that we went through the process with each of our clients to identify their health conditions, special needs, and length of time in the city of Glendale that they've been homeless, so that we can actually prioritize our housing and case management resources to our most vulnerable homeless clients. And that's the 100,000 Homes campaign. The city has committed to provide housing for 10 chronically homeless individuals. We did identify 70 most vulnerable clients, and I actually plan to come back for that report maybe next month to do the presentation on that, and then and hopefully do some house warming or welcoming some of the clients into their homes.
Thank you for that. I apologize. Yes, thanks.
Anybody else? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And what is next?
6B4E, Workforce Development.
Good afternoon, President Rockbogle and Commissioners. I know we're a little bit pressed for time, but I wanted to highlight a couple of our programs. There was an article in the Glendale News Press, hopefully that was in your packet, a couple weeks ago, on the conclusion of one of our programs to help local manufacturing companies save jobs and create jobs. And that program's wrapping up. We invested about $165,000 of stimulus money into that program. We were able, at I think it was 19 Glendale and Burbank companies, able to save about 170 jobs and create 24 new jobs. So that program turned out pretty successful. Also, another program that was highlighted in the Glendale News Press on Friday, I believe it was, talked about a training program that we ran. The first class just graduated. It was to train people for the smart grid implementation in Glendale and Burbank. And so we trained low-income people to be involved in that implementation. And I think it was a class of 12 people, and so far 3 have already gotten jobs. And a number of them are also interviewing right now for positions at a company that does smart grid implementations around the country. So that program is also off to a pretty good start. So with that, I know we're pressed for time. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer those.
Good. Nice to end on a high note.
Thanks.
Yeah.
That's great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, if there's nothing else, we are adjourned. Thank you.
Any relation?
Oh.